Hey Stampin' friends, this is Rachael Coon with the Joy of Stamping with Rachael, and today is day 4 of the 12 Days of Christmas Stamping with Rachael and Neemee. If you are in the USA, please use my online store to shop for all the things that you need in the kits and cards that we make today, and then use the Hostess code as well so I can send you some extra happy mail. And if you are in the USA and you order one of the 6 stamp sets that we use for the 12 Days of Christmas, I will send you the card that I made in my video for a kit for you to make at home with your new stamp set. All right, let's go ahead and show you what we're making today. We are using the Christmas Scottie stamp set to make this adorable, adorable card. This is great for any puppy lover, dog lover, and it's a very traditional look of a card. Let me show you the stamps we're going to use for this one. Right here is kind of like this awesome plaid, like a Scottie plaid there. We are not stamping our puppies, even though those are super cute, but we are using the Merry Christmas and May Your Days Be Furry and Bright. And then let me show you this card a little bit closer so you can see some of these details here. All right, so we have our embossed saying right here. And then we've made this awesome wreath using the Scottie dog punch that has this cute little Scottie dog and the bows. We've used some clear embossing powder to make that extra detail on our Scottie dog today. So I'm super excited to show you some of the tips for when it comes to using clear embossing powder and how to make this awesome wreath with those bows. All right, let me go ahead and get everything in view for you and show you a little bit more of the products that we're using in our card today. So I'm using the Baker's Twine Essential Pack, and here comes a couple different colors. We're going to use the Very Vanilla. Will be the color we'll be using today because it matches with our paper. I'm also using the red rhinestones for our little cute holly circles there, or holly berries, I should say. And I've used multiple times this awesome looking wintry 3D embossing folder. This is a 2-pack, so it has the pines for one and then snowflakes for the other. And I forgot to show you the inside of the card. On the inside, we also have that embossing on the top here. And then we have the embossing on our little wreath as well, using that embossing folder. We are using the clear embossing powder with our heat tool, along with our Versamark today, which is our clear ink that has extra stickiness, so it's great for when you're using heat embossing. And the stamp color we're using today is our Real Red. I also did go ahead and use the gold embossing powder for our saying for the May Your Days Be Furry and Bright, and already did that beforehand. All right, you will see in the description below or in the tutorial all the measurements for this card, so if I forget to say it, don't worry, you have a actual copy of what those should look like. Let me grab our pieces so you can see what we have done and the paper that we're using. So I have this Very Vanilla. This is going to be the matte for the front of our card here. What I went ahead and did, it was using my layering circles, and I die cut from the center, more or less, of this Very Vanilla to create the part that we'll need for our wreath. Let me go ahead and set that part aside, and then we will go ahead and set this one aside as well for just a minute. Then we have our Designer Series paper, which is a Hostess paper from the annual catalog. And I thought I remember the name because you can see on the back that is floral, but on this side has that old olive awesome look there. Let me check the name of this real quick so I make sure I get it right. So this paper is paper you can only get when you host a party or have an order total of 150 if you're in the USA. So this paper is called the Design a Daydream 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, and it is a value of $30, but using Hostess rewards is only $18 if you're in the US. So it's a great deal, and it's a great way to have a party that you can host and earn it for free, or spend a $150 order or more if you're, or different pricing if you're in Canada. All right, let's go ahead and attach these 2 pieces together while we have them here, and then we'll get ready to do all of our stamping and assembling. What I like to do though, since there's this giant hole here and we don't want sticky spots all over, we're actually going to put our liquid glue on our mat instead. Usually I put it on the Designer Series paper, but we're going to go around the circle and around the outer edges, and then we'll attach this DSP. Let's go ahead and line it up and using the liquid glue so I can have some wiggle room a little bit. And there we go. Now we can set that aside. When I cut out this designer series paper, it gave me a scrap piece, and so that's what I'm going to use for the inside. This is the 4 by 3/4, and when I cut off a piece of 12 by 12, I was able to make 2 cards using these measurements for the designer series paper. So on one 12 by 12, I could make 6 of this type of cards with that one sheet of paper. So it's pretty awesome. All right, so I do have a very vanilla for the inside that we need to stamp. I'm going to go ahead and grab my foam mat real quick. I'll set this right here, and let's grab, because I'm using the photopolymer today, I'm gonna grab my Real Red. It's the color of choice for today. So I'm using Real Red, Old Olive, very vanilla, and early espresso is my color scheme. A little bit more traditional than my first card I made, which had like blues and pinks. All right, so here's my scrap piece real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and do a practice just because this hasn't been inked up lately. Now I'm gonna make sure that it's clean and crisp, perfect. Then we'll go ahead and ink this up. And I'll go about top center, right below where I've embossed it. And this is my favorite tricks to do on inside of cards. It's just a little taste of the embossing folder. All right, let's go ahead and set that aside real quick, and let's grab that designer series paper, and we will attach that to the bottom now as well. Just getting all these pieces ready. Liquid glue on the back, flip it over. The great thing about this design is that it does not waste any of that designer series paper. We use every last piece when we're gonna make these cards. All right, we'll set that aside. Next, let's go ahead and talk about our cute little puppy dog here. I've punched him out. Here's what our punch looks like. Has a Scottie dog and the bow. Let me flip it over so you can see it without that glare. And that's how we look at it when we punch too. So there he is, our Scottie dog and a bow. I went ahead and I punched out a Real Red one, and I will have punched out all of our little ones as well for our wreath. But this is our cute little guy here that we'll need. And I chose Early Espresso because I wanted a little darker color, but not completely black. Let's grab our scrap paper here. So I just have a piece of grid sheet that I have folded in half. I'm gonna put my cute little puppy right there. And I'm gonna grab my awesome looking plaid stamp set right here, stamp right there. I just love this pattern here. It is super, super cool. And there's so many things you could do with that. I have my Versamark as well and my clear embossing powder. This is really magical, so I can't wait to show you how this looks. It's gonna get a little loud when we do the embossing, but it'll go really quick. So we're gonna go ahead and open up our Versamark. Let's ink this up. Get some good coverage on it. Couple taps. And go right over. You could hover it so you can see exactly where we need to stamp and press down. Okay. Release the puppy dog. Cute. Put away our Versamark so we don't get any powder in there. And let's grab our clear embossing powder. We're going to take our puppy dog, and I'm just going to shake some over it. This will completely coat it to make like it looks like it's white. So it's easy to see where it's gone. And we're going to have it go all over. Cute. Oh, look, I missed his little nose. Let's see if I can't put some on his nose. Oh. Luckily, we'll just dump that right back in. And that's the beauty of this type of embossing powder, is that we just gather it up and pour it right back in. And this literally will last you for years if you are a casual stamper. If you are an avid stamper, it will last you probably a year, maybe a year and a half. But I love, love this. I think this is my only second one I've ever gotten in the last 9 years. And I use it a good amount. All right, so our puppy dog, I'm gonna put him on tweezers so he's easy to hold. I'm gonna grab our heat tool. I'm gonna have it on a high setting, which is the number 2. This is what our heat tool looks like from Stampin' Up. There we go, you see right there. And right here is our little button to switch over from 1 to 2. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on, and you'll watch the magic of this white disappearing. There we go. Oh my goodness. Make it up close so you can see how amazing he is. Oh, look at that shine. Okay, since it's clear, it's just taking the color of the cardstock behind it, but leaving that really awesome pattern that we have now on him. I love that. Same color, just a fun pattern. Oh, he's so cute. All right, we can set him aside, and let's go ahead and grab our circle in and let's start making our wreath. So what I have already done is I went ahead and I've punched out my bows, and then I put all the bows into that embossing folder. I opened it up and I just placed it in here randomly. It didn't matter where they went. Close it up, and then I ran it through my Stampin' Cut and Embossing machine. This is a mini embossing folder, so it could go in the mini one as well, and came out these beautifully textured looking bows. You need about 14. I made a couple extra just in case, and I'm using liquid glue. If you have a silicone mat, I highly recommend you putting that underneath it. I cannot find mine to save my life, so I apologize, and I'll try not to be messy today to make a big gluey spot. But what we're gonna do is just go on the back of our bows, and we're going to flip it over every other. If you're not quite sure how you want it to look, you can totally go ahead and place it all on there first to see how you want it to look, and then start using your adhesive. I'm going to just do dots on a couple of these to get us started. And I'm doing it closer to the bow side and not the inside. Okay. I'm going to start with my ends going out, and I'm using the curve of the circle to know where I want to lay this. So kind of at the bottom here, and these little ends will come off. Then we'll flip over the next one and have it overlap just a little bit and place that down on the curve. Press down. This one's going to be flipped this way now, ends out. This one looks like it's ready to go. Following that curve of the circle to create our wreath here. And just flipping it over each time for every other. Our goal is to not have too much of that very vanilla circle on the outer part to show. But if it does, it's okay. Okay. So that's about half of them right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, about half. I'll do a couple more here. We'll get some backs and glue them. And I love the liquid glue for this. You could use the glue dots, but then it's a little bit more final when you put those down. So I love the liquid glue so I can give it a little bit of wiggle room. Flip it over. So you have that one right there now. And this card was actually inspired by one that was in the mini catalog as an example from there, but they use a lot brighter colors, and they didn't do this embossing step here for these bows, which I just think adds so much texture and makes it more wreath-like. These are that pine bows on here. Keep going, overlapping and flipping. It looks like I need space for just one more. We'll do one more drop of glue on this one. And then we're gonna flip it this way. Oh my goodness, that is such a cool looking wreath. Let's see if I stuck it to the paper. Oh, we did pretty good. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Such a fun technique. And you see I have a handful of extra, which I'll set aside for another card. All right, I think we're just about ready to assemble. I have one more thing I wanted to do with our real red ink though. Let me grab this piece here. So I have that little real red bow that I punched out. And let me give you my quick tip also. So here I have a strip of the old olive, and you want about 1 inch, and this is about 8.5. So like the width of a sheet of paper. And I have 1 inch because I don't need a whole lot of room for this, and I want to be able to hold it and then punch and go. So For example, this is how I punch it. I slide it down and I do the next one. You need about two pieces like this in order to get all the bows that you need. And just be careful because they do fly. You'll have little pieces go everywhere when you punch. Okay, for this little bow here, all we want to do is add a little bit of extra color. So we're using the Real Red and a sponge. Any sponge you have will work, or the blending brush even. And I'm going to just dab it in our Real Red and go around these edges. You either have it on a piece of paper to get the off, or you pick it up and have it go around like this, just to give a little extra color. And you know what? I think we're going to do the same thing to our embossed Real Red over here. So there's that one. Looks like it's good to go. We'll just add just the same color. So that's Real Red on Real Red, just to give some nice shadowing here. I'm just using the edge of the sponge to the edge of the paper. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Okay, now we can put that away and let's assemble. Let me grab my paper snips out because we need to cut ourselves some of this twine, or the baker's twine, and the very vanilla. You need about 26 inches. So I always have a grid sheet I work with, so I just use that to measure. There's 16 and about 10. We'll cut that with our paper snips. And then we're going to wrap that around our DSP and our mat here and create a bow. So I want to have some ends on this side for me to tie with, and then we'll start wrapping it around twice. Make a nice little bow here. And we want it to be a floppy bow with big ears, a big floppy bow, because that's what we want to have behind our piece there, showing through. Just pull it tight. Make sure we have a couple ends. Put your finger down on the knot so you can adjust it. There we go. That looks pretty good. Let me just trim this one just a little bit though. Perfect. All right, now we can go ahead and attach this to our card base front. Flip this over, add some liquid glue. Put it on that DSP circle piece we're missing too, so that part sticks to it. And attach. Use our score line as our guide of not going over too far. And there we go. Okay, now we're also going to add on our wreath here. For him, I'm going to have him go center and just a little bit over our baker's twine. And for this one, I'm actually going to put the glue on the DSP. Just a little dot, don't need a whole lot. And I'm going to eyeball it so it looks like it's about center there and press down. Perfect. Next, we need some dimensionals for the back of our puppy dog and our little sign. Need at least 2 for our saying here, and at least 3 for our puppy dog. 1 on his head, 1 near his legs or body area. We're going to put our sign on first. Flip that over, and we're going to cover up the center of the knot so that this is going to be off center just a little bit. We don't want to have it straight on, and that little corner of our paper will cover the knot on our bow. Okay, then we're going to take off the backs of our puppy dog, and he's going to stand right on top of that sign. He will be a little bit more center though, and his feet can go a little bit under if you want as well. Cute. Now we just need to do a little bit of embellishing with our Real Red. You're going to do them in clusters of 3 to make them look like those berries, and you want to make kind of like a triangle. So I'm going to make a triangle from this top to this side to over here. So we'll have our first one will be right up here. And I always just use my nails because I'm just too lazy to get out another tool. But we do have tools that will help you. Either use your paper snips and grab them off, or take your pick tool. Okay, so there's one cluster right there. Squeeze them together. We'll put another cluster of berries over here. 2, 2, 1. Just squish it together. There we go. And then this one is a triangle as well, or from here. I don't want to go straight across. I'm going to go straight across and a little bit over though. There's 1, 2, and 3. All right. Oh, that's looking so pretty. So pretty. All right, let's grab our bone folder, and then we just need to crease our card and put the inside and attach our bow. Let's do our bow real quick before we crease it. I do like to use a glue dot for this part here. So I take my glue dot and I just put my bow right over it, press down with my thumb, peel off, and then put the cute little bow right there below its neck, between its head and its body. Cute. Now let's grab our bone folder. Start the fold, flip it over, crease it from the back. There we go. And let's grab our inside piece. I do like to use liquid glue for most things, but for the inside of cards, like the very vanilla and basic white, I like to use my Stampin Sil or Stampin Sil Plus. Get that going in each corner, in the center, a little bit on our top there. We'll flip it over, and I like to start from the bottom of my card to start to line it up where I want it to be, and I'll place it down just like so. Smooth it out, and there we go. 2 beautiful cards using that Christmas Scottie. Let me get up close so you can see them again. Oh my goodness, that clear embossing powder is just amazing. It truly is magical. I hope you guys have loved learning how to make this card using the Christmas Scottie stamp set and this awesome punch as well. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Happy stamping, everyone.